Hello everybody, my name is Keely Blankenship and this is my social marketing campaign proposal for Frozen Flavors. So the biggest piece of background information I wanted to point out is the definition of food insecurity. And you can find a more formal definition from the USDA. I have a reference at the end of this presentation for that, but I mainly wanted to point out that food insecurity encompasses more than just hunger. It also includes whether or not an individual is able to access enough nutritious food to add to their diet. This is a big problem in West Virginia. Over 13% of households experienced food insecurity from 2021 to 2023. And some of the causes include poverty and transportation, but in my line of work, I've also learned that food deserts exist in West Virginia. And so when you think of geographic location, if an individual lives particularly far away from a grocery store, it can be even harder for them to access healthy food. So the bottom line of all this is we need nutritious food to stay healthy, to live long, healthy, and happy lives. And health issues that could potentially arise from food insecurity can also spur some financial problems if an individual is having to miss work to go to the doctor or if they're incurring some medical bills. So the purpose of this campaign is to increase food security in West Virginia's rural communities. And I wanted to go ahead and preface this all by saying that this campaign is hoping that individuals will give frozen fruits and vegetables a try. So let's talk about the target audience. So the target audience is food insecure young adults. We're saying ages 18 to 34, living in rural areas of West Virginia who do not consume an adequate amount of fruits and vegetables. So at the surface level, it kind of seems like we're targeting everybody because so many people in West Virginia kind of fit that description that are within that age range, because so many West Virginia counties are considered to be rural, as you can see. And then there are also the majority of West Virginians are not consuming enough fruits and vegetables. But it's not literally everybody, but it seems like quite a bit of people who are within those age ranges will fit the criteria to be part of the target audience. So in terms of the problem severity, of course, the health impacts and financial impacts I just mentioned are relevant, but we also have to consider the fact that young adults may be raising kids, so it could impact future generations as well. Ultimately, the reason that this target audience was chosen, or at least the age ranges for this target audience, had to do with reachability. So young adults, in my opinion, will be easier to reach on social media and through technology. All right, so for the behavior objective, what we actually want people to do within this campaign, we want to increase consumption of fruits and vegetables among young adults. So that's pretty straightforward. Kind of the idea is that by choosing frozen items, individuals will have fruits and vegetables around because they don't spoil as quickly. And if transportation is an issue and they're not going to the grocery stores often, this can be a way to keep these items in the house. So the knowledge objective, which I really wanted to talk about, kind of has to do with the fact that individuals may not know that fruits and vegetables are just as nutritious after they're frozen as they are when they're fresh. So the hope is that by informing the target audience of this, they may be more likely to increase their consumption of fruits and vegetables by giving frozen a try. So for the target goal, we expect to see a 15% increase in fruit and vegetable consumption and a 50% knowledge increase within 1 year. While 15% may seem a little steep for the increase in fruit and vegetable consumption, if you think about what a small number of West Virginians actually consume fruits and vegetables currently, 15% isn't a super unreasonable number. So for the positioning statement, I just wanted to point out for this campaign, we're wanting to position frozen fruits and vegetables in the mind of the target audience as an achievable and appetizing way to consistently incorporate nutritious food into their diet and improve the health and well-being. So the words achievable and appetizing were used to kind of address some of the barriers and motivators that the target audience may be experiencing. So when we think of barriers, some things may be accessibility or knowledge about how to use these items. So by kind of providing some information about how this is more achievable to do, it kind of removes that barrier. And then as far as appetizing, that kind of addresses the motivator of taste, as taste can be a big motivator when it comes to food, or at least I know it is for me. All right, so let's talk about the marketing strategy. So when it comes to the product, the core product, or what people can kind of expect out of this campaign, is improved health through food security. So if someone's incorporating more healthy food into their diet, of course, they can probably expect to be healthier, hopefully. Then the actual product, what people will actually be going out and purchasing, is frozen fruits and vegetables, and this would be wherever they buy their groceries. And then the augmented product, something we're going to provide the target audience with to kind of make it easier for them to purchase the actual product and perform the behavior, is going to be a flyer with a coupon and a QR code to recipes, which I'll bring up again next. All right, so let's talk about price. So as you can see on the screen, a flyer was created for this campaign. As I mentioned, this is the augmented product. So the monetary cost will be the price of frozen fruits and vegetables. That's what people will be going out and buying. The hope is that offering a monetary incentive, which in this case is a coupon that you can see on the flyer, that it kind of reduces that monetary cost, makes it easier for individuals to justify trying frozen fruits and vegetables. So some non-monetary costs involve kind of an increased effort to prepare these items, right? If you're not used to using frozen fruits and vegetables or incorporating fruits and vegetables in general into meals, you may be having some trouble coming up with recipe ideas, and that takes more time. So an incentive to kind of reduce that would be recipe ideas, which will be provided on a QR code on the flyer. Now, an endorsement from doctors and dietitians will hopefully reduce the non-monetary cost that's kind of associated with the knowledge objective, right? The idea that key nutrients, individuals may feel that key nutrients are being lost when choosing frozen. So the hope is that doctors and dietitians will endorse that fact for us. All right, in terms of place, flyers will be available at local grocery stores and larger retailers. Really, the idea is to find out where the target audience is shopping within rural areas and to have the flyers available there, preferably at the front of the store. And the hope is also to work with grocery store managers to maybe place those frozen fruits and vegetables in frozen end caps where they're easier to see, and so that we can provide additional signage for the campaign there. And then also primary care physicians and pediatricians, the hope is that they'll work with us to distribute some of these flyers as well. If they're having conversations with their patients about incorporating more healthy food into their diet, they can talk about the campaign and give them the flyer for us. And also promotion. This is a big part of the marketing strategy. So public relations, obviously we could send out some press releases, hopefully get some placements, especially in local newspapers in some of these rural areas, could help reach individuals in the target audience who do not have internet access. A direct mailer could be helpful in reaching the target audience. We can send the flyer directly to their homes. Then, as I mentioned, in-store signage, hopefully on those frozen end caps, will help reach the target audience where they're actually making the decision. And then a Facebook ad campaign. There's some cost associated with this one, but this is a great way to reach a target audience that consists of young adults. So once individuals interact with the flyer there, they can, interact with those ads on social media. They will receive a digital version of the flyer that they can then use to redeem the coupon and hopefully try frozen fruits and vegetables. And last but not least, YouTube will kind of serve as a place to store those recipe ideas. That's where the QR code will link to and things like that. And the hope is that some of the target audience may be reached in that way as well, and they'll interact with the campaign. All right, and it's important to point out that an evaluation plan, of course, is always necessary. It can help if you're trying to secure funding to have actual numbers to present. It can also be a great way to make changes or improve the campaign if you run it again in the future. So we'll be tracking outputs like flyers, signage, how many people saw the flyer, what was the foot traffic like near the signage, how many people scanned the QR code on the flyer, things like that. But a quantitative survey at the beginning and the end of the campaign will help measure some of the outcomes, such as the behavior change about individuals eating more fruits and vegetables, incorporating those into their diet, and also the knowledge objective about the nutrition of these items. All right, so here are my references. Thank you so much for listening.